Amani, our man, I tell you what, before I give you a chance to even be welcomed on the show, Mississippi State baseball, I tell people all the time just how great the fan base is, how great the players are, how great the experiences at Duty Noble. But I tell you, only two times have we had issues when it's came to having a guest on. This one was on me. The other time was on the previous guest. But RJ Yeager stepped up for Ivan Melendez because he told us like a couple hours before he wasn't available. I double booked and you made an adjustment. So just give another, mark to Mississippi State for just being outstanding players and everything about, you guys and who y'all are. So with that, man, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. I mean, because you did me a solid, and obviously you see the LSU football jersey behind me, so you made it to where like I can still do LSU football tomorrow with Greg Brooks. We can talk about beating Mississippi State in football. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I'm kidding, not kidding. But before we get into your story, which is what this is all about, man, and I'll tell you right off the top, the reason I reached out to you, you have a big fan base. I always reach out to the state fans and ask who do they want me to interview, and you were by far the name mentioned most. So people are excited; they want to hear your story. And as I researched, man, I found out that man, you got a great story to tell, but let's break the ice first, man. You had your own late night TV show, and you could have anybody, not just like Mississippi State, not just athlete. You could have any guest for your first guest on your late night TV show. Who is it?
Um, I think I'm gonna say. I mean, I've always been a big Tim Tebow fan. I love the way he like talks to everybody and stuff. So I would definitely like to have him on there for sure. Just watching Johnny Manziel's documentary he just put out. He would also be another one I'd like to have on my show. I mean, I grew up wanting. I played quarterback, so I grew up wanting to be like Johnny Manziel. So
Yeah, no doubt. Both elite level talents. Both. It's kind of interesting. You pick two different, character types. Obviously, one's a little more trouble. One's cleaner, but nonetheless, two guys who are not afraid to talk. So when you're having a talk show, definitely two guys that would be good, no doubt. The next one's a little weird, but man, we picked it up and it's become popular. If the zombie apocalypse is happening, man, and you got to try to stay alive, and you got to pick three Mississippi State baseball teammates to come with you to help you accomplish this, man, who are the three guys?
I think I'm taking Hunter Hines, Aaron Downs, and Dakota Jordan.
Now, in this group, like, I mean, do we got hunters? What is your strategy here in picking this team?
Hunter and AD are the big hunters, and Coda. I mean, he's the strongest one on the team by far. So
And at worst case, if Dakota needs to stay alive, he's going to outrun them. I seen him. We're going to get into it a little bit, but I seen him outrun y'all when he did the walk off. So I know about those wheels.
yeah.
All right, next one's real fun, man. If you had to do karaoke, no ifs and or buts, man. The people are chanting for you to come on stage. We need Amani to do karaoke, and you got to do one song. You feel like it's the song you're most comfortable doing. What is it?
I definitely have to go with. I don't know. I'd say if it's a big party, I'd probably do like probably Love Story with Taylor Swift. So
Oh, very
it's a good
nice.
one.
Hey, you know what? Taylor Swift, you're not the first one to say that. I think guys understand that if you bring out Taylor Swift, it's a way to because guys secretly like it, won't admit it, and then you get the girls into it, so you get the whole crowd into it. I like it. I like
Yeah.
what you think. All right, speaking of Taylor Swift, thinking about the younger women, as a child, like who was your celebrity crush growing up? Like who was it for you?
It was definitely Alex Morgan before. So
She's still my crush now, bro. What are you talking about?
that's still mine too. So
I mean, she could shank a shot where she had like a wide open goal, and I'm like, it's okay. You're okay.
yeah,
You're okay, Alex.
no, that's right. No, I'm the same way.
All right, last one, and we'll get into your story, man. Obviously, you're somebody who played a lot of sports growing up. So this could go anywhere. Who is your all-time favorite athlete growing up?
Ooh, I'd say I'm about to go with. That's a good question. all time. I think I'm about to go with I think I'm gonna go with LeBron James. I mean, dude's just a winner, leader, all of the above. So
Yeah, I was interested in your answer just because I knew you were a multi-sport athlete, and so usually when guys are just one sport, you expect it, but like when it's somebody like you who's played multiple, a fan of just talking with you, talking about even the football thing right off the top, and it's like that could leave a lot of different options.
yeah.
But with that, man, let's get into your story, man. I'm excited. Obviously, you see the background wall. Louisiana is my thing. When I was doing the study up. Where are you from?
I'm from Bossier City, Louisiana. So
That's right. Louisiana, the best state there is. Now, so for those who aren't familiar, is it a small area, large area? What's like, and if it is small, what's the city that's, closest to it that people would know?
so I mean, it's a big area, kind of big area compared to some of the little small towns I've been in through my college career. But it's right by Shreveport, so right over the bridge. You got Shreveport, less than 5 minutes away. So
Gotcha. And so growing up, man, family dynamics, what's it like? You got any siblings? Are you only child? What we got?
yeah, so I have two younger brothers and a younger sister. My younger sister is playing basketball. She's going to be senior this year. She just won the 5A state championship in Louisiana this past year. My younger brother, he's here now. He was at East Central Community College, played football there, and now he's going to school here. And then I have a younger brother younger than him. He's 7. He's playing coach pitch. So
So with having these younger siblings, are you what we would expect? Are they the one that looking to, for advice, whether it be sports or just school or anything in general? I mean, are you the leader of the crew?
yeah, I definitely try to set the examples for them, and just if they have any questions, I mean, I've pretty much been through everything, and I don't want to see them have to go what I had to go through. So
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what older siblings are for, to help teach you through the mistakes that they may have made and everything. But looking at your family, obviously, your dad Jarvis, drafted out of high school by the New York Yankees. So when you just read that, obviously you see, athletics in the DNA. Was baseball something that he always wanted you to play and like had you start, or was it something that maybe you saw in him that made you want to play because he played?
yeah, so I think it's a little bit of both. I started at a young age, probably around I was started swinging probably a bat when I was like 3, and then played rec ball when I was 4. So I've been playing Dixie baseball when I was 4 all the way up to about say 12, 13 years old, and we got after it. And I heard about the stories of him in the World Series. He also played for UL Lafayette. He was on the 2000 World Series team. So
Yeah,
I
no.
always wanted to go to Omaha and get there so I can one up them. So
Hey, well, get it done this year. We'll talk about that shortly. But we talked about multiple sports. Obviously, very athletic. You played numerous sports, man. What all did you play growing up?
growing up, I played basketball and football along with baseball. So
All right, so obviously we see you're playing baseball now, but a lot of times just because that's your best sport, it's not necessarily your favorite. Was it your favorite of the three?
yeah, it's always been the one I've been better at. Like I can go in baseball, but in football, it just felt like it was a lot easier. Everything was easier. Like I played quarterback, so I mean the reads were easy. Everything was easy to me in football. So nothing. I never really struggled in football too much, besides my junior year when I got thrown into the fire. But yeah,
All right, so I was watching clips of you in preparation for the show from Little League World Series, bro. Like 6 home runs, batting over 500 in the Southwest Regional. Like at that age, like what was it like killing it on TV on that stage? I mean, like, obviously you have dreams of playing in the pros, you have dreams of playing in college, but it all starts at that age. It starts with the Little League World Series, and you were able to accomplish that, man. What was that like?
yeah. So that it was always a dream of mine growing up to go to the Little World Series and also to go to Omaha. But the Little World Series was like that was awesome. Southwest Regional, they were great hosts. it's kind of like I look back at it now. I'm like, dang, I forget that I played on TV back then on that, and then I see clips of me. I'm like, gosh, I'm still on what?
Yeah, the clips are grainy, man. It shows how long ago it was. It was 10 years ago, man. Probably it might feel like just yesterday for you, but it's been a minute. So
Yeah.
on the interview, and it was cool because you had talked about obviously playing the different sports. You talked about your dad. Your dad talked about you. I just thought the whole thing was cool, man. The Little League World Series obviously going on now. Like it's one of those things that if people don't pay attention to it's really cool to see the kids and at a time where like, and you hope that it happens throughout high school, college, and even pros, that they remember it's a kid's game and to have fun. But it's cool to see on that level when kids are just having a blast. So for anybody listening who doesn't watch the Little League World Series, take some time and check it out. But where did you go to high school at?
So I went to high school at it was in Bossier City. It was a school called Parkway High School. So
All right, so I got to ask because it lists your baseball accolades, but it doesn't list your football. You just talked about getting through the fire junior year. So before I get into the baseball and the knowledge that I actually have, man, talk to me about football and even, hey, man, I want the scoop. Like, talk about getting thrown in the fire. Talk to me what happened.
yeah, so I grew up. I played quarterback my whole life, and by my sophomore year, we had some really good guys. We had C.J. Morgan, who played at Mississippi State, Brandon Harris, who was quarterback at LSU, Keandre Woodsey, quarterback Oklahoma State, and then Justin Rogers, TCU. We also had Terrace Marshall Jr. He was my wide receiver that year. So my junior year, I asked them like, y'all want me to still get reps at quarterback? I was playing receiver my sophomore year and junior year. I was like, y'all still want me to get reps just in case? And they just were like, no, not right now. Let them get the reps, and you just keep playing receiver. I was like, all right. So the first game of the year, Justin goes down, and then I'm out there, and I'm like, well, I ain't getting no reps, so now I'm just kind of going with it. And my main guy was Terrace Marshall. If I got in trouble, I was just throwing it up to him. So
Yeah, I was actually talking about him the other day. They were talking about the offensive players from that team. I went to 6 games that year, obviously diehard LSU fan. And I feel like he's the forgotten guy because they were listing, obviously Clyde Edwards-Helaire and then Jefferson, Chase, and Burrow. And he had 12 touchdowns that year and like 692 yards receiving. And one of the reasons why because you understand football, obviously Jefferson's elite. That's not what I'm saying. But if you watch the tape, one of the reasons why Jefferson was effectively able to dominate linebackers and safeties was because Chase and Marshall were on the outside taking up the best corners, leaving Jefferson with a mismatch all the time. And so Marshall, with the stats he put up, and then with what he did, because it's a team game, being able to free up Jefferson to have a mismatch, I think he's one of the guys that kind of really didn't get enough credit on that LSU offense. And to your point about throwing it up to him, if you look at some of those stats, Joey B did. He threw it up to that man and a 50-50 ball. Marshall says, that's mine.
yeah, yeah,
So no, that's cool, man. I had no clue, and that's one of the reasons why we like doing the show because you mentioned him, you mentioned Harris and other guys. Like, that's cool that you got to play with them and something that I would have never known. So definitely you were playing with a lot of talented guys. From the baseball note, 3-time first team All Parish at Parkway. You won All Parish and All District honors in 2018 and 19, and 5A first team All State as well. So obviously the accolades speak for themselves, how good you were on the diamond. Just talk to me about how good Parkway High School was in regards to baseball.
yeah. So when I showed up to high school, a couple of us that we grew up playing. We were 9-19 our freshman year. The year before, they won 7 straight and dropped the next 25. So we knew that going in. Next year, we win 9, lose 19. And then our sophomore year, we flip it around. We go 18-11, I think, something like that. And then my junior year, we go like 20, maybe like 19-10 or something like that. And then my senior year, we ended up going 31-5. And I think we finished number 5 or 6 in the country. But it was just like, I go by the motto: you want to leave the program better than you find it. So I believe we did that and accomplished that there. So
Yeah, no, that's it's interesting that my main host isn't here, Daniel. That is something that he lives by. anytime he goes somewhere, whether he's been a principal at high school, he's coached at the high school and college level. That's always his goal is when he goes somewhere, when you leave there, you always want to leave it better than when you got there. So I love that you feel that way. And when he listens back to this, he's going to definitely dig that. So also travel ball, obviously says you played for East Coast. Is that correct?
Yeah, we played with East Coast. We started as PSA or Snowpeck Baseball Group, and then we went into East Coast Sox. So
Well, the reason why I wanted to ask about that was with you playing football and baseball, how do you find the time to do travel and be able to effectively do all three of those?
yeah, it's definitely you got to do work on your own for sure. The coaches they understood like during baseball season I was baseball, during football season I was football, and they just trusted that I was getting my work in outside of those practices to make sure I was doing what I need to perform at the high level. So
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously you were. So between the success amongst everything, at what point do colleges start reaching out to you, and what were the options that you were really considering?
yeah, so my freshman year I was getting recruited by LSU and Ole Miss, and then that went on for a while. Alabama, and then the coaches changed over there, and then all that kind of dropped off after my sophomore year. Then my junior year, I think one of the coaches at LSU called, and they told me it's probably best I go JUCO. So I ended up taking the JUCO route. That's the only offer I had was East Central Community College in Decatur, Mississippi, and I also had Glenn. And I just thought that I grew up playing with Snowpeck Baseball Group in the Sox. So I thought Mississippi was the best option. My family's from Mississippi. So I just chose East Central, and it worked out best over there.
Yeah, and man, it's really interesting. This is such a common story. You say that's really the only offer, and I mean, I could list you off a bunch of names. Like, I mean, I could throw you a Ben Joyce, for instance. Like, um, so many guys that somehow, kind of, even though you were on the scene the way you were, travel ball, Little League World Series, kind of fly under the radar to where you end up at a community college, like even Jalen Battles. Like, I was just thinking of guys off the top of my head. And community colleges get a real steal because as we go into your accolades and your time there, we know that, obviously community college is getting a steal if they're getting somebody of your caliber. So freshman year of college, obviously, COVID turned the world upside down, but you did get 16 games in and you were red hot, basically batting 400. But instead of talking about the negative of COVID, man, just talk about the 16 games of experience you got just playing in JUCO ball.
Yeah, so I played and during JUCO. Well, I played 2 years in JUCO. The COVID year, the 16 games, and the next year. That was that was very. It was humbling at the time. I knew I could play, and I knew if I wanted to make it out, I heard these stories about JUCO, and that only tough survive out of there, and you got to be tough to get out of there. I mean, it was the practices were a lot different than high school. High school ball, we just played wiffle ball pretty much every day for practice, and so got to JUCO, and that was like a rude awakening. And we made it out of there, out of the fall, and then during the spring, I had a good season. I always try to trust my work, the work I put in fall break, and all that. I was just always try to trust my work going into the season. And then the next year, I had a really good season as well with Coach Coleman and MA Central. So
Yeah, no doubt. And so, that obviously gave you a chance to get your feet wet, get prepared for sophomore season where you would absolutely just get turned up, man. First team all conference and all region at East Coast, batted 447 games, had 25 extra base hits, including 20 doubles, 3 home runs, and 2 triples. Had a team high in RBIs 43 and stolen bases 26. On base percentage a ridiculous 518. Dude, those are some filthy stats. So like obviously we talked about, just getting your feet wet in the 16 games, but you come out that sophomore year and you just killed it. So how were you able to find so much success?
I think the biggest success was, just turning. I took a step back after the COVID happened and just realized like I got closer to the Lord during COVID. wanted to make sure I was right with Lord, and also that I was taking like every day, just being in the moment, being where my feet is, and just realizing that every day is not promised, this game's not promised, and just to have fun, loosen up. And then when I did that, my game just jumped to a whole nother level. So
Yeah, that's a common thing. Like just to use a guy who played at Mississippi State, Cameron James talked about the very thing you're talking about. Just loosening up. Not taking it. It's not to say that you're not taking it too seriously, but if you take the game too serious and you overthink it, work too much and don't enjoy it for what it is. And then he's also, a Christ follower himself. And just remembering how blessed you are. Like, it's amazing how when you just take the time to take a step back, breathe, and just have fun, enjoy it for what it is, good things start to happen. It's the guys who are just, wound way too tight, overthinking everything, because this is a mental game as well. How things can kind of, start to go the other way. But from there you end up at UNO, obviously University of New Orleans, call it UNO. How do you become a baseball player there? How's that transfer work out?
yeah, so out of there, still I didn't have at East Central. I put up the numbers and stuff, but still didn't have like these crazy offers. I just had UNO and South Al, and I just felt like I wanted to hit with Blake Dean, who was like a great hitter at LSU, had some accolades over there, and just I know he was pretty good over there. So I wanted to see what he had to say. Wanted to go over there and wanted to continue to better my game as a hitter, and that's exactly what I did over there with him, and I enjoyed my time over there for sure. So
No, that's a solid program, and then y'all get to play some really tough non-conference games, so you get to experience, some of what you would obviously get into at Mississippi State being there. So not a bad choice by any means. And so, while you're there, it's a common theme to what you had going on at East Central. You named first team All Southland Conference and Southland Newcomer of the Year. Finished third in the league with a batting average of 370, first in on base percentage 477, first in run scores 67, and third in RBIs with 56. Finished with a fielding percentage of 987 and 230 chances. Ended the season on a 14-game hitting streak with 26 multi-hit games. First thing I want to break down in that, something that stuck out to me through all your stats, your on-base percentage. Talking about that says a couple different things. It's not obviously that you're just a good hitter, but it says that you're patient and you see the ball well. Is that something I think about, your dad's success? Is that something that you developed and learned at an early age?
yeah, I feel like he tried to ingrain into me back then, and I didn't want to listen very much. And then as I kept growing, I started listening more and more because I was like, man, he might know what he's talking about a little bit. And so yeah, he definitely tried to preach that to me, and I took it. So
Yeah, and so you had major success there, and so continuing to climb the ladder, and finally you get to where somewhere you want to be. Obviously you end up at Mississippi State. So how does that process work?
yeah, so I ended up entering the portal after UNO, and I just wanted to continue to challenge myself, which I did here at in the SEC at Mississippi State. I mean, I seen this place on TV when I was in junior college. Got to catch a couple games. It was only an hour away, and I mean, it was unbelievable. I was like, I mean, if you get a chance to play in that park, I mean, in front of those fans, I mean, why not? I mean, you can't turn that down. So I got the opportunity. I'm grateful for Coach Lamonis and Coach Gotro and all of them, and trying to help them out. So
Yeah. If you're listening, Braden Montgomery, you just made a serious mistake, dude. How do you not want to play at the dude? And so with that, man, you get to Starkville and step on the field at Duty Noble, and you just said it. Look, I'm an LSU fan, and I keep it 100. I argue with people all the time on social media, and I'm somebody who goes to games all around the SEC. If you follow me, I'm at a different ballpark every weekend. There's no doubt the Duty Noble is the mecca. It's the cathedral of college baseball. It is the best stadium with the best fans. Like, I don't care. LSU people get mad at me for saying that, but I call it how I see it. And so when you get to step out on that field for the first time, man, like, and it's that big a crowd, are you nervous or are you excited?
uh, I'm definitely it's just a little bit like But when I got here, it was definitely shocking. And I walked outside through our little tunnel, and I remember during BP there wasn't very many people there. But as soon as like they started playing the Circle of Life by the Lion King, I'm like, what is this? And then and then people start running into the gates. And then I go into the locker room, come back out, and the next thing I see is like there's 12,000, 13,000 people out. And I'm looking around like, wow, this is different. So
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I mean, the first time that I got to experience it, like I had no clue because I had been to Swayze multiple times before I had been to Duty Noble, and then obviously I'd been to Alex Box plenty of times. And so the first time I stepped in there, I was like, dude, what? I mean, because I only live 2 hours away. I was like, why am I not here more? Like, so yeah, that place is just it's different. And so, on the season, you batted 297, 7 home runs, 30 RBIs, 59 runs with 19 stolen bases. Before we talk games and series about yourself and the team, let's just talk about the SEC adjustment. How much of an adjustment was it coming from, obviously you did JUCO and then you did UNO to playing, in the SEC gauntlet?
yeah, I knew already coming into it, it was going to be some real dudes that I faced. And I got the Skeens, I got the Burns, so we got Ty Floyd, and on our staff we had some dudes, Casey Hunt and Nixon and Cade Smith and guys like that. So it was just, going into SEC, I knew it's going to be something you got to be ready going into there. So not
Yeah,
easy.
absolutely. Yeah, Cade Smith, I've been watching him his whole life. He's from right down the street at DeSoto Central. Him, and then that's why I mentioned Cameron James earlier and everything. And so now Brock Tapper and Bradley Lofton, your teammates, they came from there. So it's kind of a little Mississippi State hub at the school, rock throwing distance from my house. Uh, but let's go to the Ole Miss series. I kind of just want to go there. We're gonna kind of bounce around, but I got to, man. Like I was there for the whole weekend. My son did not take purple and gold. He is a Mississippi State fan through and through. He bleeds maroon, and so I had to make a decision that weekend. I was like, you know what, man, can't miss the battle for Mississippi. And so we went there. Obviously, we were rewarded, record crowds, Dakota walk off. As somebody who's a Louisiana native, man, not from Mississippi per se, what was it like being a part of that series and, what it means between those two teams and not only winning the series, but doing it in a record crowd. And then, like I said, with the Dakota walk off on the one game, just tell me about that whole weekend.
Yeah, so when you sign to come to Mississippi State, you know who the rival is, and I'm from Louisiana, but I know that the, our fans don't like losing. We don't like losing the guys up north. So that was pretty awesome weekend. Friday night, I think we ended up losing Friday night, and then we know we haven't lost a series in a while, and so we're like regroup, lock back in. We don't get too down. We come back Saturday. I think we had a rough start, and then we end up coming back in the end. And then Sunday, we just got after it. It was kind of like playing out there. It was kind of like it was all like everybody was like calm and collected from both sides. Like nobody got too high, got too down. So it was kind of like in between. The crowd was just rocking the whole time. So
Yeah, now the crowd that weekend, like, I mean, I still had seats. I just didn't sit there. My seats are on the third baseline behind third base, but I was eating so good in the lounge, and my son was out there, hanging out. He just runs from booth to booth, like he knows everybody somehow, and so we kind of stayed out there. And I bring that up because it was so packed that Saturday where y'all walked it up. Like, I mean, you could barely move up there, which just speaks volumes because, I mean, people are willing to pack in like that to watch. And the one cool thing about the way Duty Nubbles built is the way the left field lounges is everybody can see. You don't get stuck not being able to see. That's kind of like my knock on Baum Walker. It's majestic in its own right, but the hog pen, like, it's not layered, so you have to like try to see over people. But Duty Noble's not that way, and so obviously 16,000 fans. Like when they posted that number, just ridiculous. Got to see you guys beat your in-state rival, man. Do it walk-off style. Dakota runs. We had him on this episode. He said he wasn't gonna let y'all catch him. Y'all had to make him jump the wall to try to get away from you, and then y'all all got doused in whatever. Kate Smith told me. I seen him at the concert afterward. I was like, "Did you go take a shower?" He said, "I had to. Somebody poured beer on me."
Yeah, we smell how we're like, dang.
It's just fans just pouring whatever. It's cool, we're celebrating. So no, that was cool, and then going to other series, I wanted to talk about Auburn for you. Like when I was looking statistically at your best series, you had a really good series, and that's significant because not only is Auburn a good team, but that was on the road. What was it like that weekend? Obviously, you're seeing the ball well, batting over 500. Talk to me about playing at Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn weekend, we knew we had to get it going. Everybody in the dugout knew it wasn't a shock. And so I turned my focus up a little bit more. I felt like I could. Felt like I wasn't doing enough at the time. And just got locked in that weekend and seen it well and just stayed with my approach and stayed to the game plan. So, and it worked out pretty well. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And on the season, like obviously, I was looking and you had ups and downs and everything. Obviously, Auburn was a good weekend, but I always feel like it's about how you finish. And if you look down the stretch, obviously, I was unfortunately at the game where y'all took the series from LSU. You were huge in game 3, and then you followed that up with a amazing performance against Texas A&M. That may have been your best individual game. So talk to me about, obviously you fight through the ups and downs, but ultimately it shows that you had learned a lot through the season because you go into an environment like Baton Rouge and you're able to have a big game that helps y'all spark a huge comeback, and then you go and play Texas A&M and you come out with another big game, just showing obviously you can play with these boys.
yeah. So, I mean, I really wanted to focus on like you can't get too up, too down in this league for sure, and not in baseball in general. So um, I know against LSU, once that pitch is thrown at you, swing, miss, hit, whatever. It's not about that result anymore. It's about the next pitch. So I really carried that in. So I had to make an adjustment game 3 against LSU, and I ended up doing that. And then going into Texas A&M, it was the same thing. One pitch at a time, one swing at a time, just breaking down the game. And it worked out against Texas A&M really well when I started to realize like I hit a double triple. I can't remember what it was, and that at bat's over with. Now it's about the next at bat. The next at bat, one of my bats I hit a home run, and then I was like, okay, I got in the dugout. I was okay. We're down 1. That at bat's over. Time to lock in on this next at bat, and you really gotta move past the results and whatever, and focus on next what you got going on next. So
Yeah, that game 3 against LSU was wild because you had the Lounge Dog, you had Tapper's family, you had a whole bunch of the crew from the left of the lounge. They actually came over to see me. I was over with George Cruz and the other LSU dads, and it was a 9-run game, and they came over there talking about we going to tailgate after, like they were thinking they'll admit it, so I'm not like calling them out. I mean, thinking the game was done. It's a 9-run game, and they were standing right behind us for the whole comeback, and it was just like, man, one of those things you didn't expect. But I bring that up because how wild is it for you? I'm assuming that you watched the College World Series to a degree, or at least highlights. How wild is it those same pitchers for LSU that were struggling so much against you guys? Because the same ones that y'all beat up on in those games out of the bullpen were the same ones who were money in Omaha, which says a lot about baseball, right? Like you just gotta find it and get in your groove. How crazy is that the guys that were struggling were the same guys who were dependent upon in Omaha?
yeah, like you said, that describes baseball. At some point, I'm sure they had a team meeting over there, and they were like, probably they had it. Hey, we got to get it going, guys. They knew how good they were. Everybody knew how good they were, and they were struggling a little bit, and we got them that weekend. And after that, baseball is all about who's hot at the right time, and they got hot. So
Yeah, but I mean, you had, I'll be honest, you guys had the whole LSU fan base thinking, like, all right, we ain't championship caliber. Like, everybody started to question because blowing 9-run leads don't sit well. Obviously, we know it don't sit well with the players. It hurts them more than it hurts us as the fans, but the fans ain't feeling too easy. But, going into next season, right? Like, obviously, y'all didn't get to Hoover. Expectations weren't meant, to say the least, but you got yourself, Dakota, Hunter, a lot of other guys returning to the lineup, but very veteran led. You have arms coming back healthy, guys like Stone and Brooks, along with some younger guys who are getting older. And then you have one of the top recruiting classes in the nation. So, I mean, how do you feel about Mississippi State? Like, I mean, I've been telling people, me and Sydney Tapper were with each other yesterday, Brock's dad, and I really feel like this year Mississippi State gets back to where it normally is in competition at the top of the West.
Yeah, we we all believe that we can get this thing going. We believe we got the team, we got the talent. The coaches do a good job of recruiting. Like you said, we got one of the top freshman classes, and I believe you want to be really good and have a chance to win Omaha. That young group has to be really good too to add on to the older guys, and I believe we have that. We I think we're going to be pretty special this year. We're going to get after it. We believe. I'll make sure all the guys believe anything. So they believe her. So
Yeah, and that's one of the things you say you'll make a like. If you look at the 2021 team, for instance, from Mississippi State, a lot of veteran leadership, and that's what I like about this team. Y'all have a lot of veteran guys who've been there for a few years now. Obviously, it's only your second year, but obviously, how many years you've played, you've been around this game, and so I feel like y'all have a lot of veterans. And then, like I said, the pitching staff getting back healthy, leading those younger guys in. I just feel real good about what y'all got going. I got one last thing. It's actually not baseball related before we play a game, but I see that you share on social media all the other sports for Mississippi State a lot, which I love, man. As somebody, who shares that, I wonder, because one of the best experiences of college is being able to go to the other sports and support and everything. Do you plan on getting out and going to football, soccer, volleyball, any of the other sports?
yeah, so I love representing our teams. I know they're going to represent us, and I think it's just an awesome way of us athletes. It's already hard enough for us all. I mean, us being there for each other is one thing we can do. So whether it's good or a bad season, we stick together no matter what.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I got tickets to two football games. Obviously, you don't have to pay for soccer or volleyball, but we have a volleyball guest and a soccer guest that have been on the show. So, gonna go support Macy Hodge and Becca Walk and go watch those games. And I love it, man. College sports are just where it's at. And in Starkville, you have all the facilities closed. So for y'all, like, it's nothing. You can bounce one to the other and. Always great atmospheres, especially in Starkville. So for those listening, big things coming on deck for football, soccer, and volleyball, not just baseball. Go out there, check it out, man. Rep your maroon and white. Bring your bell, except to volleyball. Can't do that, but soccer even get loud, get crazy. Football. I'll see y'all when LSU comes to town. I tried to get the Bell Smith to make me a purple bell. He's not biting, but it is what it is. But with that, let's play a game we play with every single guest called This or That. Basically, I give you two options. You pick one or the other. You just can't say neither, and you can't say both. You down to play?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Well, speaking of the Bellsmith, this version of This or That is brought to you by the Bellsmith. I actually brought some stuff for those who watch via video. I have one of 5 custom bells. Me, Landon Sims, Cade Smith, Cameron James, and Logan Tanner all have this Mississippi State Sunday Black Edition 2021. And then speaking of Landon Sims, I figured I'd bring his. Got my Landon Sims bell. So I bring this up to say Amani has one. And you can get it online. You can get it Maroon and Company. You get a bunch of different places. Get your bell, man. Ring that thing up. Get one for all your experiences. Support your favorite players through NIL. But the Bell Smith, he is the man. And you were talking about your relationship with the Lord. One of my favorite parts. This wasn't even something I was going to put on the episode, but the Bell Smith every day, man. He's putting out something encouraging, inspirational. So not even just great at making bells, man. Just a real good dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So with that, first question out the gate: PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
What's your favorite game?
I like playing Madden, but I can get behind the show as well.
Madden. You want to catch me on them sticks? I don't think you do. Who's your team? If you got a go-to team, you got to win. Who are you playing with?
um, I play with the Cowboys, or I just gotta have a running quarterback and a wide receiver that can run. So
I got you. I actually like to use the Cowboys a lot, even though I'm a Saints guy. But if you really, yeah, if you use the Cowboys, I'll bring the Bengals at you. I got you. All right. Are you a bacon or a sausage guy?
bacon.
All right. And I was hoping you would say that because I put this question. Me and your fan base, we've been going back and forth. I cooked some bacon the other night. We've been doing this. Do you like your bacon crispy or do you like it a little bit soft?
I like it. I like it a little bit soft.
Yeah, see, I make mine with just a little bit soft, and the lounge dog is telling me that it's not crunchy enough. Me and the fan base been going back and forth. So you hear that lounge? One of your players, the man, the myth, the legend on the field, says, "I'm doing it the right way. You're burning your bacon." All right. Speaking of food, let's turn it. You're from Louisiana. There is no better food, in my opinion. But I ask you, do you get fed better in Louisiana or do you get fed better by the left field lounge after the game?
I'm about to go to the left field lounge.
That's the right answer, even if it's a lie. You got to say that. They got to keep feeding you. But you're not wrong. Like, always get fed good. All right. Are you a plan ahead person or are you a live in the moment person?
um, I want to say both, but I'll probably say more living in the moment. So
I got you. I got you. All right. This next one, I'm going to make you pick between teammates. I've made every Mississippi State guest do it. Even Dakota himself. Better bombs, Dakota Jordan or Hunter Hines?
uh, oh, I'm gonna have to go with I'm about to go with Hunter Hines.
Man, if he has a carryover from what he did in the Cape League, I mean, he already hit 22 for y'all last year. And then I think he had like 18 in the Cape. My man hates baseballs for real. But you can't go wrong with either of those answers. Maybe you'll hit more than both of them and just put that to rest. If you were left on an island and you were stranded there, would you rather be all by yourself or stranded with your worst enemy?
Oh, I might as well do it myself.
I can't, man. Like, I got to talk to somebody. We just gonna have to fight because I can't do by myself. All right, this one's probably been split all season. You're the 11th episode. I feel like it's probably 5-5 on the first 10. Would you rather own a massive yacht or a private jet?
I think definitely a massive yacht.
Me too, man. So I assume that you like it out on the water if you want the yacht.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. You're from the South. I think I probably know the answer to this, but I don't know, maybe different. Would you rather spend an hour in a walk-in freezer or 2 hours in a sauna?
Say that again. The first part I couldn't hear the first part.
Spend an hour in a walk-in freezer or 2 hours in a sauna?
Oh, I might have to spend an hour walking in the freezer.
Oh, I'm surprised because guys from the South are used to being basically in a sauna for 2 hours. In a walk-in freezer though, like I don't know, you might lose some limbs. It gets cold enough. Hopefully not. But I forgot what guest said that they would eat ice cream in there, and I was like, you try not to freeze to death, you're gonna eat ice cream. I forgot who said that.
That weather, the weather in Louisiana right now, I'd take that ice any day.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's hot here, and I know it's always hotter there. All right, last one, man. I'm gonna test your character right here. Don't lie to me, Amani. I want it truthful. Would you rather win the lottery or win the national championship?
Uh, I'm gonna say I'm gonna win. I'd rather win the national championship.
Oh, you just lied to me on this show. You know that you want to be rich. No, that's the right answer. Just like the other questions, left field lounge, got to give the right answer. Your team might hear it, fans listening. got to say the national championship. Me personally, I want to be rich. Go ahead and bring me the money. But with that, you're off the hot seat. Is there? I know I've already plugged the bell for you. Outside of that, do you have anything else that you want to plug or promote out there?
I just want to say thank you to the Mississippi State fan base for supporting me through it all. Last season wasn't the best. We plan to do better than that this year, and we'll continue to get after it. We'll continue to honor the Lord every step of the way, and just thank you again for having me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, if you want to follow Amani, you go to IG, Amani.Larry. And of course, following Mississippi State baseball, you go to Hill State BB. But man, it has been a pleasure. Like I said, I'm a fan of yours. I'll be there next year with my son, rooting you on, ringing the bell, even as an LSU fan. And man, I hope y'all restore Mississippi State baseball back to where it needs to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we want to thank our guest, Amani Larry. If you like hearing his story or you just like hearing Average Joe's talk X's and O's, please like and share on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. We will see everyone tomorrow night. The crew will be back with guest Greg Brooks Jr. from LSU Football. This has been the In Off the Bench podcast. As always, strong bodies, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We out.